Bible multiple places where Jesus literally made himself look other than himself in front of people. You understand that? Now let's analyze the man we're talking about. We're talking about a man, according to them, that can walk on water. He can make fish commit suicide. No, that may sound funny, but it's real. You know what I mean about make fish commit suicide? In the book of St. John, the last chapter, he tells the disciples to throw their nets on the right side of the boat, and they'll catch fish. Now, the purpose of catching these fish is for them to end up in a pot, which means death. So Jesus had the power to make fish wrongly commit suicide by getting into the net of the disciples, correct? He made a dead man, Lazarus, a young man, come alive. He reanimated his tissues. He made the water of his body, which had came out when the water set in, come back in. Yes. He made a blind man who was blind from birth see. He made the lame walk. He multiplied loaves of bread. Yes? All of these are powers of this man. This man definitely had the ability to interfere with molecules. He had the power to alter molecule construction, right? Now look at this. This is a very interesting point. Look at Matthew chapter 17. Because a lot of Christians don't want to believe that Jesus literally made himself look other than himself in front of people. You understand that? Now let's analyze the man we're talking about. Look at Matthew chapter 17.
And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured.
Stop. And was what?
Transfigured.
The word transfigured means to transform, to change. You understand what I'm saying? Now look what it says.
Before them, and his face did shine as the sun.
Now people, Christians say, see, that meant that the transformation was that he made himself shine like the sun. That's not what happens here. It says, and was transfigured before them, blank, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. He changed the way he looked, and he changed the brightness of his aura, and he changed his clothes. Not he changed the way he looked and made himself look bright. And that alone would be enough. If he had the power to make himself shine, that means he had the power to transform the way he looked. But we're going to find more. Look at Luke chapter 9, verse 29.
And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered.
Now they're speaking of his countenance, his being, correct? As who prayed?
Jesus.
That's right, in Luke 9, 29, it says, as Jesus was praying, his what?
Countenance.
He changed the way he looked. Go ahead, anything else?
And as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, changed, and his raiment was white and glistening.
Look at John 21:2.
There were together Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other of his disciples. Simon Peter said unto them, I go fishing. They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and...
No, you went too fast. Go back. Genesis. Okay. Go back to St. John chapter 21,
verse
2. 1 and 2 actually.
After these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples.
Now watch this here. This is the key point what he does right now. On what?
At the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself.
Again, after the so-called death and resurrection, Jesus appears to the disciples and it tells you he showed himself a specific way. This is how he showed himself. And then it goes right on and tells you that Jesus was standing in the midst of them. He was naked on the seashore and they did not recognize him. Go ahead.
But when the morning was now come, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Jesus.
Now, go on, you're going to find out that this man is naked. So in case they say, well, he had his cloak over here, or he had his headpiece covering his face, this is going to tell you this man standing at this seashore is naked. Right.
Then Jesus said unto them, Children, have ye any meat? They answered him, No. And he said unto them, Cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes.
This man was making fish commit suicide.
Therefore that disciple whom Jesus loved said unto Peter, It is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea.
Now he was standing on the seashore naked, so there's no excuse for them saying that they did not recognize him because he had his cloak over his head. Because he was standing there naked, and they were standing right there looking at him, and if Peter was able to throw a cloak to him, he couldn't have been too far away, because you cannot throw a cloak 100 yards. You understand? He had to be close enough for a piece of cloth to be caught. So now this man is close enough for Jesus to throw a piece of cloth to him, and he catches it so that Jesus could cover his nakedness. You understand? And yet this man don't recognize Jesus. This man who denied him, according to them, who followed them when they took him to the trial, he followed behind with John. This man loved Jesus. Jesus asked him, Peter, do you love me? He says, Lord, you know I do. He loves Jesus, but he don't recognize him, huh? Why? Because Jesus tells him right there in the beginning, this is how he showed himself unto them. He transformed himself. In 18, when they so-called come to get Jesus, in the 18th chapter of St. John, the first verse, Jesus, therefore knowing all things that should come upon him, what did he know? This was mysterious to Jesus before, remember? How come all of a sudden now he knows something? What else does he know? Well, he knew that after he found his face and prayed his Father that the cup that would pass by him, that the Father did what?
Heard him.
And told him that the cup where? Would what? The cup, he would not drink it. So now Jesus knows he's not going to die. So now notice his personality changes from hiding and running to what? And Jesus, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, knowing everything that's going to happen to him, now because he knew this, he went forth and said unto them,
Whom seek ye?
Who do you seek? Who are you looking for? They answered him, Jesus the Nazareth. Now, another point. These people knew Jesus because he was causing trouble? Yes or no?
Yes.
How come they didn't say you?
Didn't recognize him.
He's doggone right. How come they didn't say you? When he said, who are you looking for? They should have said, we came to get you. Yes or not?
Sure. Yes.
How did they answer? Did they answer like they know it?
No.
No. Read it again.
Jesus therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Jesus of Nazareth.
It's a man from another place. Jesus of Nazareth. Now what happened?
Jesus said unto them, I am he.
I am him. And then, yeah, what happened?
And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them.
That means Judas stood right there who betrayed Jesus, and he didn't even know that was Jesus.
As soon then as he had said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground.
So please, someone tell me, why all these soldiers who came out to get Jesus with their lanterns and their weapons, as explained in verse 3 of 18, Judas then having received a band of men, right, and of officers, and of chief priests and Pharisees, come thither with lanterns and torches and weapons. They came to take care of Jesus, didn't they?
Yes.
Now, yet when he stands in front of them, who they don't even recognize, and says, I am him, what happens? They turn around and fall on the ground. That's how much power Jesus had. Judas didn't even recognize him. Go on, see what happens after that.
Then asked he them again, Whom seek ye? And they said, Jesus of Nazareth.
Still they don't recognize him. Who are you looking for? They still haven't said, you. Just plain and simple, you. We came to get you. Get him, chief. Get him, soldiers. Get him, Pharisees. Get him. They just stood there and what?
Jesus answered, I have told you that I am he.
Why does he have to say this?